What's up, YouTube? Not feeling too good today, so kind of under the weather. Got like a cold from my kid, so pretty much I'm gonna be going over just a budget edition of how to actually start doing leather work. I wish I'd have seen something kind of on the cheaper end whenever I first started, because whenever I first started, I bought like a pack of just random stuff that said like a starter kit. I spent well over $300 on my first day of leatherworking, and I know that stops some people wanting to get into the craft because it's honestly expensive to start off if you don't know what you're looking for. So anything I mentioned, I'm going to try to link in the description below, but pretty much I'm going to go with the a cheap budget way of starting, not like anything crazy, because I see some people they'll put a mallet that costs $100, and I know that certain people can't afford that. And a lot of my equipment honestly is budget edition already. I mean, some of my equipment costs like $7 for something that certain people pay for like a percentage better quality, an extra like $500 to $600 total on their setup. Yeah, I have a sewing machine, and certain times I don't even use it because it doesn't do as good as hand stitching. So just because someone has a couple $1,000s in equipment doesn't mean that you can't build the same item. It's just going to take pretty much longer, and honestly your results may actually even be better. I know my sewing machine, I can't sew anything that's more than like half an inch thick, so anything that's a couple, like if you put two 6-ounce hides together, you're not going to be able to sew through it. So underneath that case, I'd actually have to hand sew it. So this here is going to be pretty much all these items that I'd say a beginner should kind of look into. Excuse me. And this is pretty much built for the person who's starting off wanting to build small goods, such as like wallets, little notebook covers. This isn't for like belt. I've never built like a belt. I've never built anything like that. So bags, stuff like that. You can do, I know, bags with this equipment, but this is more for small goods, teaching you the fundamentals of leather work and just giving you the opportunity to take and get into the craft. So this is pretty much just an assortment of items that I use on a daily basis. So the very first thing that I would say that you would need would be a mat. So this is just the cheapest mat that I found at Tandy. You can go to like a Hobby Lobby. Amazon has these, but it's just a cutting mat. That way whenever you use a knife, and if it touches it and it cuts, one, it's not going into your desk, and two, it doesn't dull these blades as fast, which leather typically does. So I'd recommend getting a mat because you don't want to destroy your table. So that's like the easiest, cheapest thing that I would say that would save your thing. That's gonna run you probably, depending on your mat, this cost me way more than it should because I got it from Tandy, which is, you know, a dealer, so they're on a sell high. The next thing I'd say is a mallet. Now, some people have these here as like $100-something. This one right here for me, it costed me, I think, $10 with some punches. This works almost as good as them. It's even heavy. I like this form of mallet. There's some, you know, that this is turned like this. It's up to you. Whatever you like, whatever you're comfortable with. I like being able to get in there in multiple positions and hammer it in. So everyone's got their own opinion. The next thing I'd say, starting off, is a ruler. So this is the ruler I use. Nothing real special. It was like $1, I think, and it has a cork back. That's the only thing special about it. That way when it's on, you can't move it. If it's like this, see how it slides? Well, when it's on the cork, it sticks. So just get yourself a cheap ruler. I'll put a link in the description. It's the cheapest one I can find. You can use a plastic one. I've seen people who do amazing work with a plastic. I just like the metal. The next one I'd say is something to cut your leather with. And for this, I use 3 different items, just depending on my mood. This little rotary cutter, this was one of the best buys I've ever bought. It just sped up my cutting. It's a little bit more expensive than a box cutter, but it's worth it. I mean, I think I spent less than $20 on this thing. I'll put the cheapest one I can find. But if you're wanting to go cheaper, this costed, I think, $12. And it's just a little, you know, Craftsman box cutter. I'll put even the cheaper one, the one that don't fold and put in their pocket. But I actually carry this pretty much every day. So I got a little pocket version. And then another thing, X-ACTO knives. This is an off-brand X-ACTO. You can still get the attachments, use X-ACTO blades. This is just for those more precise, going around corners or doing more like swiggly things. So you can pretty much get away with just using this. Combining these two speeds it up. Combining all three or even just these two, you can get away with just using these. This is pretty much all I use nowadays. This is if I can't get a hold of that and I'm just speeding. The next thing, and this is where a lot of people spend a lot of their money, pricking irons. Nothing fancy at all. Just the cheapest pricking irons I could get off Amazon. And these are 5mm, and I really like this because it makes it look more rugged. And honestly, if you're gonna get more expensive ones, if you really want it, you probably only need like something of this size and a 2-punch and maybe a 1-punch. I've hardly ever used this one. And I think I spent $7 on these, the whole set. And I use them a lot. And I mean, some people spend $100 for like one pricking iron. Then they have to buy a single one to even get further, or a dual. $7, this will get you started. And I built most of my objects and almost every single trial I've ever done using these. The next thing, a little scratch all. I got this in that kit that I was talking about earlier. You can get these at Harbor Freight, things like that, for like maybe under $10. At like Tandy, they sell them for a lot more just because they know they're going to get the money. But you can get longer ones that I think would probably be just as good, because that's how I hold mine. It's similar to a pen or pencil. And then I don't hold way up here and do my marks because I don't find it precision. So you can get some that are longer and give you more stability, and they'll fit just like a pen. Probably under $10. Going on to the next thing, thread. I get my thread now from Amazon. This cost it like, I think, $10 for this spool. And then I have in my drawer down here, this is from Tandy, and this cost it $30. The difference is this is almost identical thread. And I got higher quality that never snapped on me versus the Tandy. So I mean, even shopping cheap, sometimes it's shopping smart. The next thing is some needles. One of the biggest things that I got was, I don't know if you can really see it. It's a bigger little, I guess, eye. That saves because I'm blind and I have shaky hands. So just being able to thread a needle easy makes life so much easier. And once again, these are just cheap little needles. If they break, they break. I can easily just cut the thread, put a new one on, and go to the next. And I'm going to say these cost under $10 to get like a huge cylinder of them. Going on to the next thing, a lighter. You can get the thread zapper, or you can just go get yourself a $1 Bic, call it a day, it'll do the same purpose. Going on to, I guess, my next thing would be glue. This is just rubber cement. This is just rubber cement. And honestly, this cost it $30. This cost it $5. If you really want to do leather work and you just want something to hold your leather together while you prick it, boom, here you go. Cheap alternative. They also sell cheaper versions on Amazon. I'll see if I can link one for you. Alright, we're on again, still in this pretty much stitching category. These are identical objects almost for me. This cuts the groove in, this just kind of scratches it in. I like this for whenever I'm sewing with a sewing machine. And this costed a lot of money. I'll find a cheaper one. I think this costed me like 20 bucks. And you can get these here a lot cheaper on Amazon. Let's just be honest. This is just got a little bit fancier features. And it doesn't even lock. That's one thing. Like if it had locking, I can still squeeze it. It doesn't shift. So you can get one of these off Amazon for like $5. It'll do the same thing. This will cut a groove into your leather. Let's see if I got a piece real quick. This little piece of scrap that I had out. So it just sits on it. I don't know if it'll show it. And it just cuts at this measurement, a little stretch out, and then that's where you groove. It's pretty much that groove where you can take your stitch, take your pricking iron, hammer it in, and makes it to where you can keep straight lines. A little sandpaper brick. I got this here at my local like store. You can get any form of sandpaper. I think this is what, 60 coarse grit, and then I have 150. I use both of those just to get my edges after I cut it down to like a smooth edge. That way both pieces are flush, making a straight, versus like one sitting like that. You want them sitting like smooth. Going on to my next thing, talking about that. Some of this little, I can't pronounce it, Tokonole. So I used to use like the little gum track. This is what EcoFlow. This is whatever you get at Tandy. This is Amazon, the only place I've been able to find it. They do the same purpose. You can use water, honestly. I've seen people use it, but for me, I started with this. I like the finish. Found this, and one good thing is this tends to not stain your project. If this splashes whenever you're like smoothing and wicking it down with your wick, this doesn't leave a stain all over it and then our fingerprint. So I like this, and it typically gives a better product. And I know there's a lot of people going to it from gum. Some people use beeswax. Going along that, to even get to that point, you're going to need a little edge beveler, and then all this does is go along your edge of the leather and gives it and makes the leather, instead of like a flat, I can't even do it with my finger because it's messed up, instead of it being like this, it gives it a little bit of a bevel, and then that allows you to go over with this and the grooves and smoothing it out and makes it to where it just gives better detail and makes the leather feel better. And this is what I use pretty much to wick it. You can get a cheap one. There's no reason. Over time, they become better. And you'll even see me sometimes use a Dremel for that. And I would say like the next thing, these kind of can be interchanged. Any form of dyeing, I either use this or this. This is good for dyeing. This is good for applying this. It's good for applying glue for the most part. This will do glue as well. So get yourself some of these little cheap things and you're good. As well as, this is what I bought. And what it does is you put your little edge and you go down it and it puts the paint on it. Makes it look nice. This takes like triple the time of just dipping and lightly going on the edge, and honestly this isn't as even as this, and this doesn't get on the edges typically. This costed, I think, like $15. You can get like 100 of these for 10. Same with these are cheap as well. So don't let anyone discourage you thinking that you cannot buy stuff for cheap and you have to buy like a $200 mallet. Go get yourself a cheap little rubber mallet or a hide mallet. Never use metal because it'll damage your tools, and you're good. You don't need a huge like board to like press, make, and do stuff in. Get yourself a little cheap little cutting board that you get a freaking Dollar Tree, and you can do leather work. You can do perfectly fine leather work with cheaper equipment. For instance, These are all dollars. I have some that cost like $10 for the same things. These can hold a piece of leather in place while they dry just as well. Or you can get these, and honestly, these have a better grip, and I use them all the time. And you can get more of them in one little area versus getting like 40 different sizes. Put them along your edge of your leather while it's drying. Come back, stitch, stitch, and then you can leave it there to even hold it in place while you're stitching on a sewing machine. It's just all about how you use it. Don't let things discourage you. Get into it. So now that I'm done with my rant, I hope that really helped with some people and helped save some money. I'm hoping to get more people into the craft. I know a lot of people don't do it. A lot of people find it like stupid. It's good to get like in there with your hands, and it's not like building something that you can call your own. Build your own wallet. It just feels great. I mean, it's peaceful meditation almost to me. So it really helps with long days work to come home, just hammer something, build something, have it in your hands when you're done, and be able to call it your own. And until you've done it, you just don't understand. And then that first item you build, you'll keep it forever. I don't know if I have it on hand. Very first item I ever built. It's freaking terrible. God awful. And understand that your first item is going to probably be terrible. 99% of people, it's going to be terrible. Your first items are always terrible, but you'll keep them and you'll treasure them. And then over time, you'll develop better items, and you'll get to the point where you can build items that are just beautiful and works of art. And every bit of it, you're going to learn, starting from cheap equipment. You don't need to get that $1,000 equipment, because if you have $1,000 equipment, you're still going to have that same first result. You don't know what you're doing. Understand when you jump in there, it's going to be like, okay, well, does this piece go here, this piece go there? And also, you don't have to start off with like buying people's templates. People try to sell them to you. You can buy one if you really like that design, but you can get free templates off of Amazon. I'll link a, or not Amazon, Facebook. I'll put a link in the description as well on that. It's all free templates. And I mean, they're not as fancy as that. But for a beginner, you don't need no, crazy cool. Just learn to cut your basic leather, how to edge bevel, how to make things look professional, and that's your start. Don't have to go crazy. You can get little like acrylic shells off Amazon for like $10 that'll last you way longer than a digital PDF, and you can get like 40 to 50 different designs for the same price as paying $30-$40 for someone's digital PDF. So take everything I said with a grain of salt. This is your art. This is your craft. Figure it out. Get in there. Jump in it. If you like my videos, like this video, please subscribe and click the little notification button. I don't know which side it's gone, because I don't know if I'm going to reverse this video or what. So, yeah, if you guys liked it, leave a comment saying that you liked it. Leave a little like, whatever it is that all the other big major YouTubers say. This is just a little low 5 subscriber me right now, so you guys have a good day.